Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the Toffee Blues YouTube channel. Welcome to the extra time match review for Everton 1, Leeds United 1 at Ellen Road. Everton are still looking for those first 3 points of the season. We drew again. It's another draw following on from the weekend's 1-1 draw at Brentford. I'm joined by Terry McAllister. Big thanks for coming on with me tonight, Terry. First of all, I suppose before we dive into it, initial reactions. And Everton have drew again. I suppose you could say we're unbeaten in 4 in all competitions or something like that. But we are really craving that win, aren't we? So what are your raw reactions from the result last night?
I think it's a good result. I know a lot of people are starting to worry because we haven't got that win yet, and I'm not happy joy. I think the Aston Villa defeat was a bad one because they're not a very good team, as everyone else who's played them has shown. I wasn't particularly overwhelmed with the 1-1 result for Nottingham Forest because you're at Goodison Park, they've just come up. We had the better of them for large spells of the game, despite what their manager thinks. But Leeds and Brentford away, we're not a team who travels very well. So you got to have one step at a time. Lampard said himself after the game, he building up from the bottom. So there was a lot of positives for me in this game. Like, not just the result. Ellen Road and Leeds are very similar to us in the sense of you go to their grounds and you don't just walk all over them. They're not. There's very, very good teams who don't get results there because it's a big stadium. The fans are right on top of them. The team play with the energy of the fans feeding off it. So to go up there, get a point, and look as strong as we did for spells, and how together the team looked. I'm counting that as a good result. And on the strength of the game, I think it was deserved. Okay, we'll come on to some of the refereeing decisions in a bit, but I think a point there is a good result. I think if you look back at the end of the season, there'll be other results where you can point at and go, that should have been different. But I don't think you can bemoan a draw at Ellen Road. Say it's very much, as I say, like Goodison. It's a hard place to go and get a result.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with you. This is a game that I think Everton would have lost last season and lost quite comfortably. We made a point in we saying, if you can't, win the games, don't lose them. And it seems to be that we are picking up some points on the road. I know, albeit we're only 5 games in, but 2 points away from home. Let's be honest, they're quite able Brentford and Leeds side. It's nothing to be sniffed at, really, is it? So I think if we are looking at it positively, I think Everton, we pick up 2 valuable points on the road. How far they'll go come the end of the season remains to be seen. But all in all, I thought we played quite well. I thought, when we did get forward, even though it wasn't a lot, I thought we looked quite dangerous, even though we had no out-and-out striker on the pitch. We'll get into the finer details shortly. But yeah, I completely agree with you. Just on the team, Frank Lampard went to a back 4. Obviously, Mason Holgate missing out through injury following that injury he picked up against Brentford. So we went to a back 4 for the first time this season of Patton, Cody, Tarkowski and Michalenko. What did you make of that? Could you see that sort of coming? Could you see Frank having to switch it up to that back 4? And how do you think they did?
I definitely didn't see it coming. I thought we'd stick with the back 3 and it'd be either Michalenko as part of the back 3 or Coleman as part of the back 3. I did not expect a back 4 because the common thinking is that Connor Cody's not very strong in a back 4, but he played very well. I think the whole back 4 played very well. I didn't think that it'd have an adverse effect on Patterson like some people suggested because he is a right back. He's played right wing back for Scotland and he's been playing it for us, but his performance speaks for itself. Man of the match, absolutely colossal. He was all game. Michalenko, I knew that he'd have a better game because it's simplifies it for him. He's much better as a left back than he is a left wing back. It was just all eyes on Connor Cody, and he looked completely comfortable. It might be a bit of a myth that he can only play in a back 3. It's born from the fact that he looked so strong in a back 3 at Wolves, and he's fitted in one at Everton so far, but the back 4, I thought, were one of the strongest points of our performance. Like the 2 centre backs were coaching both of the full backs through the game, which is what you want from 2 experienced centre backs. And it's been touched on already by other people. But the fact that whenever there was any needle, anything like that, the 2 centre backs were right over in the thick of it, getting involved and standing up for their younger teammates, going, yeah, that's what we've been missing: a bit of leadership, a bit of bollocks in the core of the team and the span of the team. So the back 4, I was very happy with.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. If we look this time last year, it's a completely different line of defence. You look at that back 4 last night, the 4 completely different players who just weren't weren't heard of at all this time last season, and for them to come in and to make the impact and the difference they have, I think, it's great credit to the recruitment. I think you've got to give it where it's due. Cody and Tarkowski played very well. There were concerns, as you mentioned, then that maybe they weren't as strong in that back four, but they played really well. And I just want to touch on Nathan Patton as well. I thought he had a fantastic game last night. As you said before, the jury was out to see how he could cope in that back four as well. But I thought he stood out really well. It looks like we've got a real player on our hands with Patton, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Patterson. I was interested to see him in the back four because, obviously he is a right back, as I say, and he can play it, but he was going to be in for a tough night, I thought, against Jack Harrison. Very good, very dangerous player for Leeds. I actually thought, and this bit brought out as well, said McNeil's going to have to help him a lot defensively because the Leeds left hand side's dangerous. That will come on to McNeil and the forwards in a bit, but that is what happened. But Patterson was great. Most tackles, most ball recoveries, most interceptions, just all of his numbers were fantastic, and he was full value for his man of the match award because he showed that back four will not be a problem for him. It might be. Let's be honest, we've got 3 centre back injuries, and Lampard's clearly seen through Michael Keane. So I think it might just be a back four until we start getting a few of the injured players back, and even then, if they carry on performing defensively as a unit, as a four like that, then why would you go back to a 3 if they can all cope? Because you get more in midfield, and the midfield looks stronger for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, just moving up the park now. We've got Tom Davies, Amadou Onana, and Alex Iwobi. Again, Alex Iwobi, you sort of just know what you're going to get with him now, don't you? Again, I thought he was busy, put himself about a lot. Amadou Onana, again, thought he was really impressive, put himself about. I think he's improving with every game. And I thought Tom Davies was quite solid as well. So what did you make of the midfield?
Yeah, very strong. It's mad how we were so reliant on Abdoulaye Doucouré last season, and now he's out the team, and because of the change arounds and personnel and system, you're not even missing him. You're not we literally wrote off every game that Doucouré wasn't fit for last season because he was the only centre midfielder with any mobility and any presence. But Onana, I couldn't believe what I was watching when I saw the shape of the team, and Onana was the one sitting in the 6th position in front of the back four. I thought it was nailed on that it'd be Tom Davies with Onana and Iwobi playing box to box. But Onana's physical attributes were just perfect for the number 6. Obviously, would possibly bringing in other defensive midfielders before the window shut. As of right now, they haven't been announced yet, but I'm sure by the time people are watching this, it has. So whether any of them will move Onana, his position again, make him a little bit further forward, I don't know. But he was great, just sitting, shielding the Lee Carsley role, sitting in front of the back four. He's got legs that are 10 feet long, hasn't he? Some of the the slide tackles he was pulling off, and his physicality was just perfect. And Tom Davies, other than one moment of stupidity where he tried to kick the ball out of a goalkeeper's hands and got a needless booking, he had a good game. He seemed a lot stronger in a middle 3, where he's got a little bit more freedom to move about. And what else can you say with Iwobi? I've been shocked by Iwobi. I was an Iwobi doubter, just not even because I thought he was a bad player. I just thought he's not an Everton player. He doesn't suit us. We don't suit him. But now, lo and behold, if you play him in a central position and have a bit of stability in the team around you, not a gang of absolute, people who have mental breakdowns or are under any pressure, a little bit of a structure around him, he's an absolute revelation. He's our most creative player. He's our most intelligent midfielder. He's just fantastic, and he is the most, probably the last player to be dropped in the whole team. He's the first name on the team sheet at the minute with the way he's playing.
100%, yeah. I mean, I'm like you. I mean, I won't sugarcoat it. I thought he was one of the worst to put on the shirt at one point in his Everton career. I think it was after some of his performances last season under Benitez. I think away to Palace, away to Wolves last season, even though he scored in that game. There were times when I come away last season and think this guy's one of the worst to wear the shirt. But absolute credit to him, and Frank Lampard's just got the best out of him. And before we move on to the game itself, obviously, it's not no Solomon Rondon, no out and out forward again in this side, something which we've had to get used to this season, unfortunately. But of course, just want to touch on quickly the big talking point even before the game started was that we were all expecting to see a bit Neil Maupay. new signing from Brighton involved. Okay, we could maybe understand him missing the Brentford game, but I think everyone was very, very shocked and quite frustrated and angry actually that for this stupid reason, something to do with the Premier League and being the bank holiday, that he wasn't allowed to feature. So what was your reaction to that going into the game?
I think both the club and the league come out looking bad from this. The club, because they should know that if it's in the rules, everyone abides by it, everyone knows it. And the fact that they didn't know probably until the day before or the day of is just really, it's a bad look. It's amateurish. But the Premier League that is ridiculous. Like, what a stupid rule. Like that the game, which is primarily played on weekends, operates on a working day basis. Like, companies with the next working day, but if you do it on a Friday, you wait 2 days. Like, football operates on Saturday and Sunday mostly, like especially league football in this country. Why, if he's I just if that is the rule and it's been the rule for a long time, it needs updating because that is ridiculous. We registered him at 4 o'clock on Friday and he couldn't play in a match on Tuesday because of a bank holiday. That is just amateur. It's a league with clubs who make transfers for millions of pounds, who have private jets involved and everything to make things happen as quickly and as smoothly as possible. But if there's an admin cut off, like, I don't even think it should be a case of the weekend doesn't count. If you're playing Monday, you should get the Saturday or whatever it is. But to say you can't have Monday because it's a bank holiday, that's just embarrassing for the league. But it's also embarrassing for Everton at the same time. So I think no one comes out of that looking good.
No, definitely not. And then obviously moving forward, we did end up going for the front three of McNeil, Gray, and Anthony Gordon. It was supposed to be expected if there was no Neil Maupay, and Solomon Rondo's not going to be top of a lot of people's choices for being involved. So yeah, so we go into the game. It was quite similar to the Brentford game. We didn't really have much of the ball. It was sort of very much backs against the wall sort of style, and we were going to try and hit them on the counter, hit them on the break when we could. And 17 minutes into the match, we got a good break. Anthony Gordon, he's put through with a fantastic ball, an unbelievable ball from Alex Iwobi. And he's played through and very, very similar to his Brentford goal. He put us 1-0 up and it was a great take by Anthony Gordon, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a good finish. I think the front three, once again, didn't work. I know one of them scored, but let's be honest, it's a good ball from Iwobi, but that's only 50% of it. The other 50% is Llorente, can't sort his feet out, and it's a mistake by their centre-back, which we've capitalised on. I think the only times the Gray and Gordon looked good was when we were counter-attacking from deep, say Leeds had a corner and we had a lot of this pitch to run into. They looked all right then, but when it was more of a settled game and both teams were set up in their shape, the two of them couldn't keep hold of the ball. McNeil offered very little going forward, but he made up for it in a lot of ways by his defensive performance, as I said before, with helping Nathan Patterson down the left hand side, Leeds' left hand side. But yeah, we need proper strikers in the team. They're doing their best. I do think Gray is better through the middle than Gordon, but none of them suit it. And certainly better than McNeil through the middle because he really doesn't suit it. But I think with a lot of these draws we've got, we could have stolen wins. Probably maybe not even deserved it, but a lot of teams get results they don't deserve. But we could have nicked wins from some of these draws if we had just a striker, some presence, someone to hold the ball up and get us up the pitch, someone to make the opposition not go so far from their own goal because they're worried about what's going to hit them back. Leeds, especially in the start of the second half, were right. We were getting deeper and deeper and deeper because they were not worried about what we could do against them going the other way. And in fact, the only instance where we did was a great break by Damari Gray where he scores. And yeah, well, for those who saw it, I hate this. I know everyone says this when it goes against them and they love it when it goes for them, but even the Leeds manager said they were very lucky to get away with this offside for the Damari Gray goal to make it 2-1. I don't think it's offside. It's that dodgy camera angle where you don't know exactly when it's left the assister's boot, and he's not offside. He's just not. Like it, and what's the point? The referee was the assistant were crap anyway because they were flagging before he put it in. And you're meant to give the advantage to the attacking team and then let VAR sort it out. So I think that should have stood. I know we've had marginal ones go in our favour on occasion, like a couple of years ago in the Merseyside derby, where Pickford's injured Van Dijk. It was the very last minute, and they scored. Liverpool scored one, and it really shouldn't have. It really shouldn't have been chalked off because he was not offside. But yeah, they need. I know they're bringing in a microchip in the ball for the World Cup and the Champions League, and probably from next season, the Premier League will have it as well. And I hope that'll sort it out. But the VAR and the referees and everything that's involved with the officials in this league is just embarrassingly bad. It's just mistake after mistake every single week, every single match day.
Yeah, it's definitely seeming that way, isn't it? It at that point it was 1-1, and we went in at half time, a goal ahead, and we were riding our luck, I suppose, come out in that second half. Leeds came out for the second half, and they looked very much up for it. Seems like they were wound up with all this time wasting or whatever they wanted to call it. They was getting very wound up with all that. So Leeds were always going to come out all guns blazing, and we were going to struggle. And I think if a lot of Evertonians are being honest with themselves, it was only a matter of time before Leeds we're going to get one. It's the old saying, oh, it's coming. And eventually it did. But Everton's game plan was very much smash and grab. And, when we did get up the pitch and we did manage to get some breaks and some counter attacks, we did look quite dangerous through Damari Gray and Anthony Gordon. And like you just said there, to have a goal ruled out for such fine margins like that, it really does frustrate you, especially when the jury's out as to even whether it was offside. I don't think it was at all. We're talking the finest of fine margins. And, when you're 5 games in without a win, obviously it just adds to the frustrations. But, I'll go back to a point I made before about how when we went forward, we did actually look quite dangerous. I didn't think, okay, McNeil probably wasn't amazing. Some of his defensive stats maybe suggest otherwise. I think there's an argument that he was quite hard working off the ball, but didn't really produce much on the ball. Do you think that maybe we should have went for the game a bit more, even though we didn't have a striker on the pitch? Do you think we should have took the game to Leeds United a little bit more?
Honestly, I think we did as much as we could do. I think if you look at the bench, there wasn't a lot of offensive options to bring on. We've been making changes in previous games and putting putting McNeil at centre forward and bringing Rondon on, who he's just he wants to do it, but he's not. He just can't do it. He's not even a presence. He doesn't win anything, or he doesn't scare the opposition in any way. I mean, at Villa, the Villa match maybe had a slight impact, but every other time he's played, he looked out of his depth against Fleetwood, didn't he? So I Lampard not making a substitute, I think, was a signal that look at the state of this bench I've got. I don't trust them, and none of them are good enough. Could have possibly brought on maybe Alan instead, for Davies on the yellow card. But in terms of going after the game, I think he was hamstrung. I think if he'd have had Mopé, he might have had him on the bench, and that would have been the moment to bring him on. Or if he'd have started Mopé, one of the front 3 would have been on the bench, and then you could bring them on, and they could have fresh legs and be told go at the opposition or change formation and take one of the centre midfielders out and put another attacking player on. It's just about having the options, and we never had them. So I think I'm counting that under the circumstances, especially as a good result, because we could have gone after it. We probably should have been given that second goal, but all things considered, I think a draw is a good result. It's a good point.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a point on the road. It's it's a really difficult place to go and get a result at the best of times. Let's not forget this is a side that quite comfortably beat Chelsea as well. So for us to come away with a point, it is what it is. It's just frustrating that we haven't picked up a win. And like you pointed out, Teddy, at the start of the video, it's the Aston Villa result, it's the Nottingham Forest result that are maybe the things that stick in your mind a little bit when we're still winless.